That's great stuff. Let's watch a few more challenging scenarios and see how our preceptors are doing.
So I want you to know that my wrist really hurts, and all I want to do is to see my family doctor.
Yeah, okay. I'm supposed to take a history first from you, so if you don't mind just kind of telling me what happened with your wrist, that would be awesome.
Why can't I just tell him that?
Well, I'm supposed to take a history first. It's part of my learning, so I'd really, it'd be great if I could just talk to you about your wrist. Can I just take a history from you?
Why would I tell the same story twice? Why can't I just tell him and then get it over with?
Okay. Look, I honestly... I'm sorry.
I've been waiting here forever, and now this is ridiculous.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'll get him. It's just nobody ever has spoken to me like that. It's awful.
I wouldn't worry about it. You get better with experience. Everything comes with time, so chill. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Leslie, help?
Wow. How did you feel about that scenario? What do you think the preceptor was thinking? And how was the resident thinking when they watched that video together? I'm sure that both were embarrassed and felt awkward, and the learner no doubt was a bit ashamed. And it's common human reaction to want to just ignore that behavior, not label it, and not embarrass the learner any further. Just to say, oh, you'll get better with experience, or don't worry about that, or, patients are like that. As a preceptor, when your gut goes, ugh, and you feel like, oh, I don't want to engage in this feedback, you really need to reflect on your role as a teacher, and that these moments are often the most teachable moments. And we need to think about how to use that scenario to help our learners avoid it in the future, improve their performance. We need to give them some strategies to deal with that. So my pearl from this is that listen to your gut, and when you're feeling like you want to flee the feedback scenario, put on your professional hat and think about how you can engage the learner in a positive manner.
So the key point here is acknowledging the feeling in the room. Let's see if our preceptor has put this concept into practice.
I'm sorry, I'll get him. It's just nobody ever has spoken to me like that. It's awful.
Yeah, it is awful. In fact, it was so awful, such an awful performance, that you deserve exactly what your patient did to you. Well, that's what I'm going to do right now. Here we go. Yeah. That's what you get. That's what you get from your patient, and that's what you get from me when you start to cry in an interview. How unprofessional is that? It's just about as unprofessional as you starting to cry right now. Oh, is that a tear I see in your eye? Oh, I think it is. Yeah, go ahead and cry, baby resident, because that is exactly what you deserve. You're crying, I'm crying, and your patient is crying the most.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're sorry. I'm sorrier.
I am sorry-est. The preceptor definitely acknowledged her feelings there. What do you think, Leslie?
Learners are going to make mistakes. After all, they're learners. We as teachers need to observe those mistakes and not react emotionally. We need to put on our professional teacher hat and think about, how can I make this mistake a learning opportunity? We need to take a step back and think about how we're going to approach this feedback scenario in a constructive manner, which will respect the learner.
I hear you. I wonder if our preceptor has learned something more.
I'm sorry, I'll get him. It's just nobody ever has spoken to me like that. It's awful.
Yeah, that was pretty uncomfortable for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah, in fact, I think you said it on the screen. It was awful. How did you feel besides awful?
It made me feel uncomfortable, and I felt a bit cornered. I didn't really know, what to do with that situation.
I think he's a very angry man, and sometimes our patients aren't always warm and fuzzy, are there? And, you can take that as a good learning opportunity to, if that happens to you in the future, to understand, what you might be able to do differently that is less distressing to you and ultimately less distressing to him and to both of you together.
Hey, that's great. The preceptor acknowledges the learner's feelings there. I wonder if there's a system to difficult feedback scenarios. Hey, Leslie, I'm open to one.
So when you observe something that your gut says, I don't want to talk about this with the learner, I encourage you to apply a formal feedback model. So the model I apply is called OPEN. So O involves observing your learner and orientation of the learner, discussing where, when, and how will feedback take place. P is about perspectives, sharing perspectives. So I usually begin a difficult feedback scenario by asking the learner, what do you think went well? What would you do differently next time? What were you struggling with in that particular encounter? And then I'll share my perspective. And usually, most of the time, the perspectives are the same. So we enter into negotiations. We agree upon what was observed and how what we observed was different than the target behavior of what we want the learner to actually do. N is then the next time. What will they do next time? And that means discussing strategies. How will they improve their performance so the next time it is better?
That's great. Let's review. Open. O-O-P-E-N. The first O, observation, observing the learner. The second O, orientation of the learner, where, when, and how. P stands for perspectives, asking the learner what went well, what was challenging, what would they do the next time, and then share their perspective. E stands for enter into negotiations of what target behavior the learner could improve on. And N, next time. What strategies will they use so that their clinical performance is improved the next time? A pearl from Dr. Douglas Cave is to practice the words right here, right now. He states, the curious
thing about the brain is that it does not understand the difference between practice and real life, especially in terms of physical practice and expressing words.
So asking the learner in the moment, if you could do it again, what are the words you would say to your patient? Anything else?
Thank you.
Nice.